Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we've got a subscriber request for you. We're going to be covering a small cap operator in the cryptocurrency mining space. The company name is Digihost. I'm super excited to talk about them today. We're going to do a deep dive on their business model and look at their most recent earnings. We've done a number of these crypto miners on the channel recently, and it really is a popular trend in the investment community. So I did want to mention, you guys, if you're sitting on any cryptocurrency itself, there's a link in the video description below to BlockFi. It's a great place to park your cryptocurrency and actually earn some interest while you wait. Now that being said, before we get into the video, please take a second, hit the like button, you guys. It's a huge help to both myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And let me know in the comment section below what you think of Digihost, how you think they stack up to some of the others we've talked about on the channel, and your thoughts on their most recent earnings. Now with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, we're going to be continuing on with the theme or the trend of crypto miners. This one specifically we're going to be talking about today is quite a bit smaller than some of the others like Hive or Hut 8 that we've talked about on the channel previously. The company name obviously is Digihost Technologies Inc. Trades under the ticker symbol DGHI on the Toronto Venture Exchange. You can see it closed out last week just under $9 Canadian. It was down 6 cents on the day to close out at $8.94. They have been on a fairly good run over the last couple of weeks here. If you look back to the end of September, they were trading right around that $5 Canadian mark. And if you look back even a little bit further to the middle of July, they were below the $4 mark. So definitely have had a pretty strong run, very similar to some of the other miners that we've talked about. Obviously, that has a direct correlation with the underlying asset itself, which in this case is Bitcoin. But the interesting thing here with Digihost is if you look back to February 22nd, this company was actually trading above $12. So you are getting shares at a fairly reasonable rate considering all the growth and expansion that this company has undergone over the last 6 months. Now that being said, they have done a reverse split. We're going to talk about that later in the video. So this is on a split adjusted basis here, you guys. But as mentioned, closed out the week just under $9 Canadian. Now based on that close, that gives them a market cap right around $250 million, so 230 million Canadian, which is a fraction of what we've seen with those other miners on the channel. So this one definitely is a smaller scale company in terms of their hash rate, their Bitcoin mining potential on a per day basis. But that being said, there could be a lot more upside here if you're willing to take that type of risk. So as with any investment, you guys, I would highly encourage you to do your own due diligence. But I wanted to get this video out to get Digihost on your map, on your watch list, so you guys can go follow up and look into this company for yourself. Now for full disclosure, I do not hold any shares of Digihost. I did just initiate a position in Bitfarms last week. I also have a position in Hut 8 mining. That's my #1 miner in this space. And I am actually looking to grow my exposure to crypto miners. And that's exactly why I'm doing some additional research on companies like Hive, like Digihost, like Riot Blockchain. And with that being said, let's get into the video here. So in terms of what Digihost actually does, we're a blockchain technology company. Digihost is a blockchain company based in the United States, so a little bit different than some of the others we've talked about with the Canadian location or Canadian home base, focused on Bitcoin mining. Our growth-oriented strategy is to continuously exploit opportunities that increase our mining hash rate, so that's the horsepower here of these miners, reduce energy costs through favorable contracts and vertical integration, and increase the company's inventory of Bitcoin mined and held. So that internal or self-held reserve of Bitcoin that we've seen as a constant with Bitfarms, with Hut 8, really seems like a lot of these companies are trying to build up that reserve in addition to expanding their mining potential. And that's obviously a testament to where leadership teams feel the price of Bitcoin is going to be going or heading over the next couple of years. Now that being said, Digihost is well positioned to maintain strong Bitcoin mining operations while continuing to execute on its strategy to to expand its business operations and achieve its goal of being one of the fastest growing Bitcoin mining companies in North America. So this is an industry that's definitely getting a ton of attention. There's a lot of money, a lot of companies that are focused on capitalizing on this opportunity, and Digihost is really an up-and-comer in this space that I think deserves a look if you're looking for exposure into this industry. Now, if you continue to scroll down on the company website, you can see the future direction of Digihost. So their main focus will really be expanding its global blockchain technology business, which is supported by Balance, and that's actually their cryptocurrency accounting and tax software. And that's a big question mark that I've been trying to do some more research on, are the tax implications as these miners start to take these coins into reserve. Are they taxed when they mine them? Are they taxed when they convert them? That's a question mark for me. So feel free to leave a comment in the section below if you've done some research here. From what I've seen, they're basically taxed as they record the revenue. So that being said, if the price of Bitcoin is $80,000 Canadian when they mine it, they record that as revenue in the given quarter based on that rate using regular business income taxes. And if the price of that Bitcoin should appreciate while it's held in reserves, that would be considered capital gains or investment income for the company. Now back to Digihost here. In addition to increasing their mining capacity through their efficient data centers, they're also looking to pursue a number of strategic initiatives. And they actually lay out 4 of these initiatives right below. So expand capacity using the cash on hand and mining proceeds. They want to build out their inventory of additional mining rigs or mining capacity. We're going to look at some news as it relates to that in a couple of seconds here. They want to diversify to achieve mining success. They really want to expand beyond Bitcoin and look at mining some alternative cryptocurrencies. Sustainability, this is a big one we've seen across the industry here. Develop software to optimize mining activity, maximize yield, and ultimately the value of the currency that they're mining. And then the 4th point is form alliances, so strategic alliances that will lead to further improvements in efficiency, profitability, and awareness. So we're going to jump back to Yahoo Finance here. We're going to talk about a couple of recent developments or news articles at Digihost, and then we'll switch back to the investor presentation to close things out. So this one just came out October 21st. They're actually reporting financial results for the 3rd quarter, which ended September 30th. And if we scroll down to the financial highlights, you can see Digihost recorded record revenue from digital currency or crypto mining of $5.5 million in Q3 of 2021 compared to only $400,000 in 2020, so an 1,153% increase. That's the rapid growth or expansion that I'm talking about here. But keep in mind, you guys, $5.5 million is only a fraction of what Hut 8, Hive, or Bitfarm is actually putting up. So a much smaller operation, but still huge growth. Gross profit margin was 49%. Now we just did a video on Bitfarms. You saw a few months where their gross margin was actually above 80%. So you can really see there are some operational efficiencies that come with scale. So I would expect that gross profit margin percentage to increase or improve in the coming quarters. As Digihost continues to ramp up production or the size of their operation, they realized net income of $0.7 million or $700,000 compared to a net loss of $1.8 in 2020, an absolute increase of 140%. Adjusted EBITDA came in at positive $4.4 million, and total comprehensive income was $2.9 million for Q3 of 2021 compared to a loss of $1.7 million last year, same quarter, so an absolute increase again of 273%. They've got a cash balance of $17.3 million, and in terms of their Bitcoin reserve or their crypto reserve, they've got about $23 million held in reserve. That's comprised of 452 Bitcoin, 1,000 Ethereum. That's compared to only $4.5 million in their reserve in 2020. And the other thing that was really nice to see here, while their assets are going up, their liabilities are actually going down. So they actually managed to decrease liabilities by about $600,000 compared to Q3 of last year, which is phenomenal to see. Again, speaks to management's focus on profitability and really paying down debt, reducing liabilities, and hopefully the corresponding interest payments. So overall here, you guys, phenomenal Q3 earnings across the board. There's nothing I saw in this report that I didn't like. They're showing huge growth. They're showing some strong cash position. Their reserve is growing. They're paying down debt. Phenomenal job by the leadership team. And again, really speaks to how lucrative this industry is, especially considering how well the underlying asset itself, Bitcoin and Ethereum, has been performing over the last couple of months here. Now, it will be interesting to see if we do go into a bear cycle in crypto, how some of these smaller companies hold up. Very similar to oil and gas here, you guys. It's easy for companies to make money when the price of oil or barrels of oil are selling at a high, but it's very difficult and a lot of changes need to take place when you see those commodity prices start to drop. Again, it's going to be interesting to see. Time will tell. But from what I can see right now, Digihost is really firing on all cylinders. Now, the next article we're going to talk about here came out on October 28th, and it's talking about Digihost really growing their fleet of miners. So they've actually received over 6,000 new M30 Bitcoin mining units since the middle of October. They're pleased to announce they've received 1,040 new technologically advanced M30 Bitcoin miners and anticipate these to be online and fully operational by the end of next week. These are in addition to the 1,952 M30 miners received in mid-October, and the remaining 3,040 units are actually in transit. So overall, 6,000 new units or mining units coming online, and that's expected to take the company's hash rate, which is currently sitting around 300 petahash, to 500 plus petahash by the middle of November. And that's going to be a combination of replacing older units and expanding their fleet overall. And what I thought was super intriguing here is if you scroll to the bottom of the article, you can see although they're currently only at 300 petahash, the company plans to expand its hash rate to 3.6 exahash by the end of next year. So they're looking at extremely aggressive expansion over the next few quarters, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can really handle this growth and get their operation in a spot where they can actually achieve this goal. If they're able to achieve this goal of 3.6 exahash, you guys, this really propels them into the big leagues, and this is going to have a material change on, number one, the amount of Bitcoin that they can mine, but also the company's share price and overall market cap. Now, the last piece of news I wanted to mention in today's video is actually in regards to a reverse split that the company did to really help facilitate their listing on the NASDAQ exchange. So you'll see this from time to time with smaller companies. The NASDAQ does have a minimum listing requirement, and a lot of times these smaller companies are trading in terms of their share price well below that requirement. So what Digihost actually did here was a 3-to-1 reverse split. So for every 3 shares that investors held prior, they're now going to be consolidated into a single share. And what this actually does is increase the company's share price, and at the same time, it actually reduces the number of overall shares outstanding. So in this situation, it actually reduced the share count by about 25 million shares. And the reason I wanted to bring this up, number one, it's a good little educational piece for you guys. But number two, if you've been following this company for a while, you've looked at some of the private placements, you might have noticed they did an institutional raise around $1.80. You might be thinking, wow, those people got in at such an attractive price. Keep in mind, that was pre-split here, you guys, or pre-reverse split. So you'd essentially have to times their share price or their purchase price by 3 to make a split-adjusted comparison. So now that we've talked about what it is Digihost does, we've looked at their earnings report, we've talked about some recent news, the next question is why should you invest in this company over some of the competitors? One of the main reasons here, you guys, is because they're much smaller. You're getting in at the ground level, but keep in mind that does come with more risk. Now on the website here, they say with the cryptocurrency market reaching into the hundreds of billions of dollars and institutional investors now starting or slowly coming on board, the time has never been better to enter the crypto mining space. Digihost maintains a single large-scale cryptocurrency mining operation. They currently own 12,000 miners, and that's growing, which we just talked about, with an operating capacity of 42 megawatts in terms of their energy input. They have low electricity costs, we have a high efficiency data center, and also very futuristic software that monitors hardware temperature, hash rate, memory, wattage, and their cooling fans 24/7. So again, that's fairly consistent across the board here with any of these mining companies. But what's really cool, number one on a macro scale, you guys, is that institutional investment. The world is really starting to come around to Bitcoin. I know my parents, my grandparents are starting to ask me questions. And you know when that's the case, it's starting to hit mainstream society. But the second point, again, is you're getting in at a very good time considering the size of this company and considering their targeted hash rate within the next couple of years. So for those reasons, you guys, I definitely think Digihost belongs on your watch list, or you should at least take a look at this company. Again, for full disclosure, I currently do not hold any shares. My position in cryptos is focused on Hut 8 and Bitfarms, but this is definitely one that I'm going to take a closer look at. That's it for today's video. Feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what you think of Digihost, if you're holding shares, and how you think they stack up to some of these other miners or competitors. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And if you're still watching at this point in time, hopefully you found some value, so make sure you hit the like button on your way out. It's a huge help to the channel and myself personally. And with that being said, you guys, have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much for watching.